Marathon taper, how to taper, and why it matters. You have completed peak week, where you've probably run your highest mileage week of your training cycle. You've logged your longest long run, and now it's time to run less. Welcome to your marathon taper. A taper and following your taper is crucial in order to show up on race day with fresh legs, feeling ready to go and to perform your best. Many runners are worried about losing fitness or might feel restless during the taper, but we want to trust our training. We want to trust our body and all of the work it's put in over the last several months to prepare for race day. And we want to trust the taper. Hi, my name is Emily. I am a registered dietitian and a run and strength coach. And today we are going to talk about how to taper for your marathon, how to manage your mindset, how to eat, how to hydrate, how to sleep, and how to taper your strength training as well. So you're going to learn how to trust the process, how to feel confident in your taper, and how to set yourself up for performance on race day. Now, the whole purpose of a taper is to allow your body to recover, replenish, and restore itself so that you're ready to go on race day. Your body has gone through so much stress during your training, and a taper is going to help your body to recover from that stress. Now, a taper, like I said, typically follows peak week, and it's usually the 2 to 3 weeks leading up to race day. Now, a meta-analysis suggests that the most effective taper lasts about 2 weeks, where training volume is reduced by 41 to 60% while maintaining the training intensity and frequency. So here is an example of a taper. Peak week, your highest mileage week, 50 miles. Week 1 of your taper, you cut it down to 30 to 35 miles. And then week 2 of your taper, you cut it down to 15 to 20 miles. Now, keep in mind that this is just an example, and you want to follow a taper that is tailored to you, okay? Why we want to honor our taper, why we want to follow our schedule, why we want to follow our coach's prescribed workouts. It will help your body to reduce the accumulated fatigue that it has accumulated over the last several months. It allows your muscles to repair and your glycogen stores to be replenished. It's also a great way to improve mental freshness, so you are showing up to race day feeling mentally clear and fresh. And it can help you to arrive at the start line feeling strong and ready to race. So think of the taper as like your battery that you are recharging, and you've been draining it over the last few weeks for your training during your training time. And now is the time to plug back in and recharge. So on race day, you have a full battery and you can fully send it. Now, what is a marathon taper not? A marathon taper is not the time to cram in lots of extra workouts. It's not the time to catch up on missed workouts that you didn't get to during your training cycle. It's also not the time to go visit a new place and walk tons and tons of extra miles. It's also not the time to start any new house projects where you're going to be physically exerting yourself or spending lots of extra time on your feet. You also do not need to worry about losing fitness during a taper. I know that this is a concern of many runners, but you got to trust the taper. And tapering is only going to set you up better for race day. So you want to taper. You don't want to skip the taper. It's not the time to restrict your eating, and it's not the time to significantly cut back on your nutrition or cut out food groups, okay? Your body needs nutrition in order to properly replenish and recover. Now, doing these things, the things I said not to do, doing these things during a taper can hurt you on race day. How do we manage our mindset? Because I believe that mindset is a huge part in tapering. As a marathon runner myself who has run a few different marathons and lots of half marathons, I understand that sometimes we go a little crazy during a taper. But I want to remind you to remind yourself that the work is done here, right? Like you've trained for this race for months. The work is done. Now it's time to trust our body, trust our training, and trust the taper. If you need something to keep your mind busy, work on the mental prep for race day. Visualize your race from start through the middle into the finish. Visualizing race day success can be a very awesome strategy to help you during the taper and then on the race day itself. Definitely, you don't want to not run during the taper. We want to keep up with our running. Our running volume is reduced, but doing some short, easy effort runs, some strides, maybe even some speed workouts, depending on what your level is and what your training has looked like. But again, follow your plan, follow your coach. Another way to keep ourselves distracted, maybe, if we are going crazy with our mindset and running less, is to keep your brain busy by doing maybe things that you haven't been able to do during your training because you've been so darn busy. Does your kitchen need organizing? Do that. Are you falling behind on the book that you've been reading? Spend some time and catch up and read that book, or catch up on a show, or catch up on a movie. Anything that you can do that will help you mentally is great, but we do not want to increase the physical demands of our body. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Prioritizing sleep during a taper is a game changer as well because your body spends a lot of time recovering during sleep. So we don't want to cut ourselves short. If we can get in at least 8 hours a night, that's ideal. And work and think about setting ourselves up for a really solid, good quality night of sleep. Try not to overschedule your taper weeks. Now that you have extra time, don't pack your schedule and pack things after work and stay out late and have that interfere with your sleep. Remember that rest is going to set you up for a strong race day. So do what you can to prioritize your sleep during your taper. In addition to sleep, hydration is important too. Intentionally focusing on hydrating our bodies, not just the day before the race, not just during your carb load, but in the weeks, honestly, leading up to your race, during your taper, the whole taper. Have a water bottle with you at all times. Bring it with you when you're doing errands so you can sip in between your errands and when you're in the car. Keeping your water bottle in eyesight can be a good way to remind you to sip and hydrate throughout the day. When you make your cup of coffee in the morning, pour yourself a glass of water, and as your coffee is brewing, have your glass of water to start hydration early in the day. So be consistent with your hydration. Eat and drink some electrolyte rich foods as well. But one thing that we like to do sometimes as humans and as runners is to be excessive with things. We don't necessarily need to drink a whole gallon of water a day. For some people, that's way too much water, and there's such thing as overhydrating and drinking too much. So don't be excessive with it, okay? Now, your strength training. I hope that you have been strength training all training cycle long because that's going to help you show up to your race, reduce your injury risk, and help you run all those miles, right? You want to have a strong body to help you endure all those miles that you're asking your body to run. So, the 2 weeks before your race, during that taper, just focus on maintaining your weights. There's no need to challenge yourself by increasing your weights because honestly, your training is done, right? So we're just sort of maintaining, and then race week, we can either decrease to light weights because really the goal here, it could be important for some runners to kind of keep going through the motions here of strength training, but we don't want strength training to make you sore on race day. So drop back to lighter weights, or you can completely take out your strength training. Depends on the person. I have some runners who prefer to not strength train at all race week. I have some runners who like to strength train once race week and will put it in the beginning of the week, so that way they're not sore race day and nothing can interfere with that on race day. So it's up to the runner. Again, like this is general advice, but make sure that you're tailoring your plan, your nutrition, everything to you and your goals, okay? Now, one of the most important pieces, in my opinion, for your race taper is your nutrition and what you are eating. Do not make the mistake that many runners make of significantly cutting back on your calorie intake and your carb intake. What's the whole point of a taper? You've heard me say it. It's to allow your body to recover and replenish so that you're ready to go race day and you're feeling good and you have those fresh legs, right? If we significantly cut back on our calories and carbs, we can cut back too much, which can not be so good for our recovery. Our body needs adequate nutrition in order to properly recover and replenish. So we don't want to cut back too much. And here we are trying to recover, but we're not giving our body the resources that it needs to recover. Now, here are some general guidelines. 2 weeks before your race, fill half your plate or a third of your plate with grains and starches, a quarter of your plate with protein, add a source of healthy fat, and some color, which is fruits and veggies. Please note that you do not want to be eating half your plate with color, fruits and veggies. You're probably underfueling and you're not getting enough carbohydrates or those grains and starches. Those are really important in the recovery process. So we don't want to cut back too much on those. You don't want to be eating a salad that has barely any carbs in it or barely any grains or starches in it, okay? So know that we still need carbohydrates during a taper, okay? I hope to really nail that one home for you and help you remember that. The first half of race week before you start your carb load. For marathons, we want to carb load for a full 3 days before the marathon. But what do we do with the first half of the week, right? The first half of the week, fill half your plate with grains and starches, those carbohydrate-rich foods. It might feel a little backwards because maybe your training volume is pretty, it's a lot lower than what you're used to, but please, fill half your plate with grains and starches anyway. Fill a quarter of it with protein and fill the remaining quarter with color, and then add a source of healthy fats. And then the 3 days leading up to your marathon, you're going to be following your carb loading plan. Some training adjustments beyond your training volume and mileage. A taper is not just about running less, it's also about being smart. So if you've done speed workouts in your training, you might want to maintain some of that to maintain some intensity, to keep those legs going, to keep those legs sharp, but your workouts might be a bit shorter than what they were, especially during your peak week. Your easy runs should be true easy effort. Resist the urge to test your race pace too often during your taper. And again, please follow your training plan. Trust your body and all the work that you've put in over the last several months, and trust your taper. Now you have an understanding of how to taper. You hopefully are more confident in following your taper and understanding the why behind why we taper for marathons. If you have any questions, you can drop them below, or you can send me a message or email me. And don't forget to hit subscribe to follow for more nutrition and training videos.